On today's episode of Chicago Bears Now, I explore what Justin Fields has to do to convince Ryan Poles to not draft a quarterback in 2024, at least to make him think about not drafting one, because I think if the season ended right now, he probably would be. We'll get your thoughts on that in a second. But this quote from Matt Eberflus, who again is not Ryan Poles, who knows if he'll even be here, but this stood out to me. He was asked, is 7 weeks enough for a quarterback to show he can be the long-term answer? And Eberflus said this: I think 7 weeks is enough time to show consistency, and be the high performer that we expect him to be. I know he has had some good performances during the year. Certainly the last few have been solid, and we expect consistency out of all of our positions. That feels like the door, regardless of how open we think it is, it's at least cracked open. There's at least a chance that Justin Fields can knock that door down and say, yeah, I can be this guy for this franchise. Now, I'm not saying it's a great chance. I don't know what I would put a percentage on it right now in terms of convincing Poles to not draft a QB if he gets a top 2 pick. Maybe less than 20%, I would guess. But I think there is a chance, and if he shows some things over these final 7 games, which we'll get into, then maybe, just maybe, he can change the narrative in this front office. So you tell me, if the season was over today, would you draft a quarterback? Not what you think the Bears would do. Would you draft a quarterback? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I think I would have to, as much as it would pain me to do it. But we got 7 more games to decide. So let me know. Y for yes, in for no. Would you draft a quarterback if the season ended today? So let's get to 5 things I believe Justin Fields must do to at least get the brain churning for Ryan Poles. Like, maybe I should stick it out for another year with Justin. Number 1, I think he has to have at least a 2-to-1 touchdown to turnover ratio over these final 7 games. You look at his career, touchdown to turnovers. Well, passing categories first. 35 passing touchdowns, 27 interceptions. That's better than 1-to-1, but certainly not 2-to-1. Rushing touchdowns, 11-9 in terms of lost fumbles, which, by the way, has had a lot more fumbles that he has not lost, so he's actually had some decent fumble luck. Overall touchdown to turnover ratio, 1.28. Not enough to be a franchise guy in the NFL, let's be honest. Now, in 2023, it's 1.5, so it's trended up this year. It's been better when he's played. I still don't think that's good enough. And by the way, I don't think 2-to-1's not even elite. I think it would show good progress, though, and that's kind of what I'm looking for here. That's going to be a theme on this show. None of the categories I'm saying is like I would be blown away, but it's like I think they're achievable marks and substantial growth that would show Ryan Poles something. So 1.5 so far this year, and Luke Getsy, who I don't love, but I think kind of echoed this thought. He said, look, it always starts with taking care of the football, right? I think that's the starting point for anybody on offense, especially the quarterback. And that's the bottom line. The turnovers have to decrease. The negative plays have to be mostly eliminated. Sure, you're gonna have a bad play here and there. Things are gonna happen. You can't control certain things like tip drill interceptions and stuff like that. But fumbles, forcing the ball, inaccurate passes, like that stuff, you gotta get rid of it if you're Justin Fields. So 2-to-1 touchdown to turnover ratio. That's the bar I'm setting in that category. Number 2 here. And it kind of ties into number 1, which has led to some fumbles. You got to stop taking so many sacks. Fumbles are not sacks are drive killers, man. That's the bottom line. And guess what? I think Justin Fields is entering this game is playing behind the best offensive line he has ever played behind. Not that it's a world beater offensive line, but you're as healthy as you've been all year. His rookie year O-line and last year O-line was terrible. Look at this group, man. I mean, from left to right, Braxton Jones at left tackle. He's been good since he's been back. Whether Tevin's played left or right guard, he's been very good. Lucas Patrick stinks, but that's only one spot. Nate Davis at right guard, Darnell Wright at right tackle. You at least feel like 4 of those 5 positions are at least average, if not above average to good, right? Lucas Patrick sucks. I get it. But if he's your 1 weak link, you should be able to work around that. It's not going to be perfect. Only so many people are Jalen Hurts and get to play behind that O-line in Philadelphia. This is more than enough adequacy, in my opinion, at least if they gel well enough this week and moving forward. And the sack percentages, guys, it's just too much. And I get it, and we're going to talk about it in a second, but 33rd his rookie year, 33rd last year, 32nd this year. Guys, there's only 32 quarterbacks that start each week. So you're talking about at or near the bottom in every year of his career. Yes, Joe Burrow's near the bottom. He's like 29th, but his sack percentage is like 8, 9%. It's not 11, 12, 14, just way too much. I'm not saying you have to be a Tyson Bagent who throws the ball in only takes a sack 3 or 4% of the time. Like, I think that's almost too fast. Like, you got to find that happy medium because you want to get those big plays, which is a big part of Justin Fields' game. Can you get it under 10% at least? 9%. Like, I get he's a big game hunter. And I also understand, yes, he has played behind some really bad offensive line. I've been very critical of that. I don't think it's been adequate for the most part. I think right now this group can be adequate, at least on paper. We got to see it play out, but it's healthy. For the 5 positions you at least feel pretty good about. And look, even with behind the bad offensive lines, there's a lot of these sacks he's taken that he's just holding the ball too long. You got to understand when you have to get rid of the football. So get that sack percentage down. It's got to be at least less than 10% the rest of the season, which I don't think is like a crazy bar to set, for being completely honest. Bears Now, sponsored by Rocket Money. Speaking of numbers, how about lowering the amount of money you're spending on a monthly basis? Well, you can do so with Rocket Money, the personal finance app that will find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and lower your bills all in one place. You can negotiate to lower your bills by up to 20% with Rocket Money. All you have to do is take a picture of your bill, send it to Rocket Money. They will take care of the rest. They also let you monitor all of your expenses in one place, recommend custom budgets based on past spending. They'll even send you notifications when you've reached some of those spending limits so you can kind of know where you're at that point in the month. And guess what? With over 5 million users and counting, Rocket Money has helped save its customers an average of $720 per year and a total of over $1 billion in savings for their customers. I mean, that is just fantastic, and I can attest to that. The last several months since I've been using Rocket Money, I've saved a few $100 at least, and that's huge for my wife and I right now with the 7-month-old in daycare. The spending's got to cut back. It just does. RocketMoney.com/Bears Now. That link is where you go download the app. It supports us as well if you use that link, so we appreciate it. That link is in the comments and in the description of this video. Go check out Rocket Money today. Okay, number 3. Justin Fields has to stay healthy. He's got to play in all 7 games. And I'm going to set the bar like fairly high here. I think you got to win 4 of them. Like, you got to stay healthy. That's number 1. He's missed some time in all 3 years. Now, he's never had a major injury where he's missed like 2 months or something like that, but he just missed 4 games. I mean, that's almost a quarter of the season. At the QB position, like, it's got to be like the max you're missing in a season. Like, most years you want your guy to play all 17. Now, with his style, I get it. He might miss a game here and there, but you got to stay healthy these final 7. I think that's number 1. But number 2, you got to go 4-3. That's the bar I'm going to set. And I get it. Wins are not necessarily a QB stat, the old adage, but guess what? All the good quarterbacks win for the most part, right? And, like, they overcome. And these next 4 games, to win 4, by the way, you got to win one of these next 4. 2 against Detroit, at Minnesota, at Cleveland. Those final 3, like, if you're Justin Fields and you're looking at this, Arizona, Atlanta at home, at Green Bay, well, that's 3 you should have a good chance in. You got to win one of those tough 4, and hell, it'd be awesome to split these next 4, right? Like, that would show a lot. Can you split with Detroit and beat either Minnesota or Cleveland on the road? We'll see. If the defense keeps playing the way it has been, and I'm not saying it's awesome, but it has been better, I don't think winning 4 games is out of the realm of possibility. I don't. And I get it. This team has flaws. This head coach stinks. But you know what? It's crunch time for Justin Fields. I'm setting the bar at least somewhat high of what I want him to achieve down the stretch. Now, fill in the blank. The Bears will win blank more games this year. I think 3 is probably where I would set it, and that's why I want 4 from Justin Fields. Like, show me something. Because if I said he's got to win at least 3, well, if he beats Arizona and Atlanta at home and beats a bad Green Bay team, like, sure, it'd be cool to beat the Packers finally, but, like, you've beaten 0 playoff-worthy teams there, right? Like, one of these wins needs to be against a playoff-caliber team. So, fill in the blank. Let us know how many games you think the Bears win the rest of the way. Well, it all starts this week. Bears-Lions. I think it's a great opportunity. You've had 10 days off. You're as healthy as you've been as a team. I get it. First game back for Justin, but nothing like the present, right? We're going to be live for this one, so subscribe and join us. We'll be live at 10:45 a.m. Central Time on Sunday. Kickoff at noon Central, so don't miss out. Should be an interesting one up at Ford Field. Okay, a couple more here. Complete 65% of your passes. again, that's not an elite number. That's an above average number. It's a good number. It's especially with his play style, I think it's a really good number. You look at his completion percentage by year, it has progressively improved, but not quite like that big jump you were hoping for. Just under 59 as a rookie, 60.4 in his second season, just under 62 this year. But I will say this, he's been trending in the right direction before the injury. His last 3 games he played, 66.2%. So I'm not setting a bar that's like unachievable. I think 65% can happen. Now, could there be exceptions where he completes like 63.8% of his passes, but his yards per attempt is super high and he's getting big play after big play after? Yeah, of course. But I think in general, like, complete 65% of your passes, get the turnover ratio, or TD to turnover ratio to what I said earlier, 2-to-1. I don't think I'm asking anything crazy. I think I'm asking for good quarterback play. Not great, good. Give me good, I'll be happy. And then number 5, and I think this is kind of a wild card one. Build elite chemistry with DJ Moore, which I think we were seeing, and then he got hurt, which sucked. But the numbers don't lie here in this case. Look at DJ Moore with Justin Fields versus Tyson Bagent. Yes, he got similar targets and similar catches with Bagent. 5.5 games to 4.5 roughly is what we're talking about here. But when I think chemistry, when I think a big-time quarterback and a number 1 receiver, I think a lot of connecting and a lot of big plays. 19.2 yards per catch there. We saw the 200-yard explosion against Washington. 5 touchdowns with Bagent. Yes, he's still getting some footballs, but it's not nearly the impact, right? 10.6 yards per catch. It's a lot of underneath stuff, which that's Bagent's strength. It makes sense. The yards is cut in half, even more so. Hasn't found the end zone. The chemistry is there. Can it be elite? Can we see a formation of what we talked about coming into the season where the Jalen Brown, A.J. Brown thing happens, or Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown thing happens, the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. Now, that's the highest of the high, but, like, can you be, like, a tier below that? Can this duo with 7 games left, can we see 600-plus yards and another 5 touchdowns? I don't see why it's impossible. I don't want to throw numbers on it, but, like, build that elite chemistry, because maybe if you do that and if all the other boxes are checked, maybe Ryan Poles is looking at this and like, hey, like, yes, he's not a perfect quarterback, but he's got elite chemistry with a top-flight wide receiver. That might be worth exploring for another season. What does Fields have to prove to you? I just listed 5 things I want to see. What do you want to see? Wins, stats. What do you want? And yes, we can't control everything. I can't control what Luke Getsy is going to call. I can't control how the defense is going to play. I can't control if receivers catch the ball. I can't control if offensive linemen are going to block. But this team's as healthy as it's been all year. Like, go do something about it. Go do something about it. I think it's out there for Justin. I really do. I want to see if he can do it. All right, guys. Busy show. Busy week here at Bears Now as well. It's going to be Bears Now on Sunday. I can promise you that. Let's get it popping here. Hit that sub button. Join us for our watch party. Bears-Lions at Soldier Field. Ought to be a good one.